Looks like it was. All right. Welcome to GNT, your one-stop shop for gaming news and whatever else we want to talk about. I'm Nick.
And I'm Brandon.
Today we're going to start with some Bethesda news that Todd Howard, the director at Bethesda Game Studios, talked about different projects that Bethesda is working on. Fallout 4 VR, he said it's playable from start to finish, but they are working on some issues such as movement, how to traverse that space. I think it'd be a really cool thing to try, but then you get into the thing, it's like, well, how long can you play in VR, especially a game like that?
Yeah, where you could have hundreds of hours wrapped into it. I don't think that... it probably could. You probably could do it in VR.
Mm-hmm. In smaller increments of
You
time.
probably wouldn't find yourself, I don't think, playing it as much as... in long as increments as you were playing the original. But also, it depends on how they did movement. If you did the warp movement thing, you could probably cut down on your traveling time.
Yeah.
But that also wouldn't work whenever you're fighting enemies and stuff, because you could basically just warp the shit out of town.
Yeah. IGN, I think they played it a little bit, and they said that it was a warping movement, at least for the trial state of the game. So I don't know. I like games that have both options, that you can warp or you can push down and move. I like that way. But I know some people get sick moving that way. But
that way, I think that's almost really, if you're gonna play the game as it's intended, I think you take out the warp movement and just have that movement be like that.
Yeah.
But, also then on the flip side of that, being if you couldn't play it for as long as periods as you played the other one, you might need the warping to just progress through the game at an effective rate to make it worthwhile playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I definitely like to try that. They said they are working on Elder Scrolls 6, but that's so far off that he said there will be 2 other big projects before that. We see anything on that. They said the 2 big projects are different. I'm assuming brand new projects, but will be similar to games that people associate with Bethesda. So, I'm assuming they'll be big open world games.
Well, you have, don't forget that Bethesda did the Dishonored games too.
Oh, that's true.
They are open world to an extent, but not the extent of your Oblivions or your Fallouts. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what those 2 projects are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if were they the ones that were making the Cyberpunk game that was teased?
I don't know.
I'm thinking they were, but I could be wrong. That hasn't made the news much, and that was one I was kind of looking forward to. Because I thought it was being made by Bethesda, but I could be wrong. But at any rate, we haven't heard much of that game in a while.
No. Okay. Then we have Jason Rubin, the Oculus VP of content, just talking about Oculus. The past year it's been out. Reaffirming that VR is going to be the next big thing. He works for a VR company, so I guess you kind of have to say that. But he said that Oculus has knocked it out of the park when it comes to the quality of the Rift, and now that they just have to drive the price down, which I think is, a really smart move for them. I think the price, between buying a computer that can run it and then buying the Oculus Rift itself, I think that's what's keeping people from getting it and trying it.
I agree, but you got to have a quality product. That being said, playing both the Rift and the Vive, I like the Rift headset better for a couple reasons. Mm-hmm. It's lighter, and I like the fact that the earphones are incorporated into the headset. Yeah. It just feels like it fits a lot better than the Vive. Plus, only 1 cord coming out than the wider 3, so it's less bulky in that aspect. I wouldn't be so much if I think the price is probably where. I mean, it could come down some, but you're right. I mean, it's going to come down. But that's always the way it is with PC. I mean, you're going to pay a price to just run it bare bones, and then to run it optimized, you're going to be paying even that much more. I mean, that's just the name of the game with PC gaming. So it's just one of those things where, you got to get the right, I guess, tool for the job, I guess.
Yeah, and make sure that you have a number of full fleshed out games. I mean, they have some cool games right now, but if they could, say, here are all these games we have, these full games that you can play, I think that's another area they could improve, all VR, Vive included.
Right. I think that is coming from the fact that it's still new and still testing the waters and see what works and see what doesn't work. I mean, being so new, I still think we're a little ways off from seeing fully developed games like that are $60 games that you pay for now. Like you're gonna, it's gonna be a while before you see Call of Duty quality or a Bethesda quality, or I mean, a lot of these game developers take years to develop games, and the headsets being new to the public are always relatively, just like whenever a new console comes out, the first games that come out for that console are not nearly optimized for it as what they are at the end of, or middle or end of the life cycle of the console. And day one, you're not paying less for those console games. You're paying $60. Whereas at least here with the VR, it's, hey, here's 15, 20, 25, 30. Try this game out. It's not a full game, but we're not selling it to you as a full game.
Yeah.
It's it's a work in progress. Let us know what you think. Is it good? Or are we on the track of something? And I think all that is the right idea for VR, and for it to grow is for people to continue. I mean, we played that game Vanishing Realms. One guy made that, and I felt that was close to. Now, granted, it was a relatively short experience after it was all said and done, but that's. I mean, if you just put more content in there, you don't need to refine it. The gameplay was great. The graphics were good. It really worked. It's just there wasn't enough content there. So if you got a team of people that could produce something like that, I mean, we're talking serious VR game there.
Oh yeah. The Switch, it was announced that it will come with 32 gigs of internal storage, which isn't much in the grand scheme of things. But they recently came out with Mario Kart 8 will require 7 gigs, which that's not bad for that. Breath of the Wild will be 13.4. Okay, that's about half. And then Dragon Quest Heroes, though, has been announced that it will require 32 gigs to run. So if you want that game, it's going to take up all of the storage on the Switch. So, I mean, pointing out that if you're planning on getting the Switch, I'm pretty sure they take SD cards also. So you'll definitely want to get one of those as well. If you want multiple games. I mean,
it's an odd move, to say the least. Whenever storage is so cheap, and if you have the capabilities of adding 256 gigs on a micro SD card, why not come out the gate with at least 256?
Yeah. Your
consoles your Xbox and your PlayStation start out with 500, and their games are bigger than that, and they go up to 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte. And here we are with a console just coming out, and you already have one game that's going to max out your storage.
Yeah.
I honestly do not know what Nintendo is thinking. I saw commercials for the console again, and once again, it just, I don't know. I see what they're trying to do, but how many times are you really going to be, if you want to play with people, you play with them online. You're at your place, you're comfy, you're playing. I'm at my place, I'm comfy, I'm playing. We're playing 4-player game. Those other people are respectively at their places and are comfy. we don't need that on the go. If that's when we're playing a console game, and I guess this may be what they're trying to do is that they're trying to bring you console quality with the flexibility of being portable.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, I mean, just things like this. I mean, so I can have, one Mario Kart and one Breath of the Wild. So I can have 2 games on it, those 2 games. But then, okay, let's say I wanted to play Dragon Quest Heroes. Now I can't play those 2 games. So how accessible is that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, wait. No, you have to spend more money out the gate with your initial purchase of the console just to get more playability.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I honestly don't get it.
Nintendo has always kind of been that way. I think it was one of the DS's, I forget which one, that didn't come with a charger or something like that. So you had to get the DS, and then you had to go buy the charger separately. I'm pretty sure it was one of the DS's that did that. But
well, that might, in that instance, it might have been the case of it maybe taking batteries over.
Maybe.
I don't know if a DS ever
I don't
took
think
batteries.
I don't think any of them did.
I don't think it did either. I just don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I just don't get it. I honestly don't. I mean, coming out with a new console is always a big risk, but you pretty much usually, unless there's a real good gimmick like there was with the Wii.
Yeah.
Unless you have a good gimmick like that, I just don't feel that the gimmick for this console brings to the table what the Wii did. So I just don't see them having good success. And I hate to say it, but this could hurt them. I mean, every day it's something new that just is kind of baffling to me that that they're doing.
And then you have people like me, and I've seen other people online. Like, I was planning on getting a Switch. I would have had it pre-ordered just for Breath of the Wild, but now they sold out, I think, I know it was within a day. It might have been within the hour, but they sold out, and you haven't been able to pre-order them. So now it's like, well, do I...
What, the console?
Yeah, the console.
Wow.
So it's like, well, do I go at midnight at like a GameStop and try to get one, or do I just get it for the Wii U and say, screw it with the Switch? I mean, I think that's what I'm going to go with, but...
Yeah, I mean, for you to dump that much money into a console that you're probably not going to play it. You're playing it for that game. You're probably,
I would have gotten a couple other games, but none that I was, as excited for as Breath of the Wild.
And now they've kind of taken the wind out of your sails completely.
Yeah.
I mean, they possibly could have sold a console to you, but with the what they've brought to the table and just, I mean, all the things, I mean, for you, it's just a no-brainer just to get it for the Wii U, and
yeah.
I mean, it does have slightly affects the graphics, but that's not real a hard graphics driven game. It's
right.
The art style that kind of provides you with that. So I don't think you're going to lose as much by not being able to play it on the newer system. And you're still going to get the same experience.
Yeah. Yep, so we'll see how the Switch does when it comes out Friday. I want to talk about a Twitch streamer, Poshy Brid, or Brian Vignault. He passed away while attempting a 24-hour stream. And I was thinking about whether to put this up or not, but I saw an article and I liked how they talked about it and just kind of raising awareness. It's, if you're going to do a 24-hour stream, I think the best thing would be to have other people with you, so you can take a break, go eat or sleep or whatever, and then come back to it. But if you're going to do it by yourself, just plan for it. Maybe even get a checkup from a doctor beforehand. I know it sounds extreme, but then you have cases like this. It's like...
It's not worth dying over.
No.
Yes, yeah, I mean, I don't know if this guy was dependent on Twitch for his... like if this was his only job or only source of income, but I mean, this is honestly, in this instance, at any rate, it's not worth your life. Right. If you do have loyal subscribers, they're gonna understand. They don't want to, they enjoy watching you, and they're not gonna want you to kill yourself on trying to provide them or to entertain them. I mean,
Right.
it's just not how it is.
Now, from what I read about him, I guess he'd been streaming a lot, like that week, like not sleeping much at all throughout the week, even before this. And I think he was a heavy smoker as well. So just a multitude of things, but just to be careful when doing this. It is extreme staying up for that long or longer is hard on your body. So just to raise awareness and talk about that, to be careful with doing that. And then we have Microsoft has confirmed that the next Halo game will have split screen, unlike Halo 5, which I didn't play Halo 5. I don't think I even played Halo 4, but kind of lost interest in Halo. But I think this will be a nice thing for Halo fans to be able to, if you want to, be able to play split screen like the old days with, Halo 1 through 3. I remember playing split screen on those and having a blast.
I think that's one of those things where that should have never been, even though it might not be high on the priority list,
Yeah.
it still makes it. And I think the fact that when you take it out, I mean, it doesn't, it's just one of those things where your hardcore fans or your people that like it for a socially based thing where they go and they hook up a console and they grab 4 controllers. It's one of those things where, oh, wait, the game we always played multiplayer or split screen doesn't have split screen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of, takes the wind out of their sails.
Yeah. So that'll be nice. And then to get in some movie news, the Black Man.
The Black Man.
Yeah, the Black Man is a new spin-off of Batman. No, the Batman has been a little shaky lately, but Matt Reeves is officially directing the Batman. So Ben Affleck was supposed to direct, but has stepped down as director. There was even a rumor that he wasn't even going to play Batman anymore. But
that would have been the best rumor yet. I mean, with Ben Affleck as Batman, it's still shaky. I'm just, for me, he just, George Clooney was all right with Batman.
George
Kilmer,
Clooney?
Yeah. They all worked as Batman. Just Ben Affleck, he just doesn't strike me as a Batman guy. I think it's more just his demeanor and all the other movies I've seen him in. He just doesn't
That's true.
feel like he can pull off the Bruce Wayne in any incarnate or in any form of them.
Yeah.
They all brought, like Michael Keaton brought his own kind of twist to Bruce Wayne and Batman, and the same way with George Clooney and Val Kilmer and Christian Bale. I mean, they all had their, and I just don't get that from.
I agree with you
Ben
there.
Affleck.
Yeah, his Bruce Wayne is lacking, but
And once you put on the mask, it's not like they're watching you as because half that stuff is done by a stunt double or a stunt man.
Yeah.
So really, if you can't pull it off as Bruce Wayne, I mean, yeah, those are the parts in the movie where you're going to be talking through the mask and stuff, but. If you can't pull off the Bruce Wayne, then you can't do the Batman.
I still have high hopes for this movie. I think Man of Steel was good. Batman vs Superman certainly had its issues, but overall I enjoyed it. Wonder Woman, I think I have some hopes for. The Justice League movie. I'll see it, but I don't have high hopes for it. But this movie I am looking forward to.
I think the problem with DC is that they had kind of built up the movies on different fronts, but now they're almost as in my eyes looking like copycat, because now they're trying to build up their version of the Avengers, the Justice League, and have a movie series with them, but everything that they do is going to be compared to
Yeah, I mean, after the Avengers, yeah, you're right. No matter what they do, people will always be saying, comparing them to the Avengers and how. But I honestly think they would have been better off. I mean, hindsight being 2020, but I think they would have been better off doing it like Marvel, have each separate movie, and then have them together. Maybe do the Batman vs Superman movie and then the Justice League. But yeah, I don't know. But with Matt Reeves directing this movie, I was watching Kevin Smith's show, Fat Man on Batman, and what he said, I agree completely with. And I always, when you guys whisper in hushed tones,
well, we're helping with feminine problems, so that's all we'll say. We hope that did help you, Brown Crimson.
You're welcome.
Yeah, yeah. So go continue on with the
But Kevin Smith, he said with Matt Reeves, Matt Reeves directed Dawn of Planet of the Apes, War for Planet of the Apes, and Cloverfield, and he said, do this movie like Cloverfield. I'm not saying have the hand cam, through the whole movie, but do a small budget movie. Maybe do some of the shaky cam, some of the, like a Cloverfield movie, and like the scene Batman vs Superman when their cops are going into that building, and you see the Batman kind of moving around. You see him in the corner, like it was kind of creepy, and like I thought that was really cool. And if Matt Reeves did a movie, a small budget, do like 30-40 million, which would be small for a movie like this, it's gonna make money, and he's gonna be seen as a genius, and I think it could be really good. But
I wouldn't put the cart before the horse there.
I'm looking forward to this movie.
I don't know. I don't have high hopes, and I don't think that, like I said, I just don't see Ben Affleck as a good Batman. That's not to say he's not a good actor. It's just I don't see him portraying him like other actors have done beforehand. So, like you said, I guarantee you they're probably not going to go low budget end.
No.
Typically, whenever they get the studios behind them, they want that big budget. They want to know that they're going to be, doing all sorts of CG stuff, and or do all this crazy stuff. And then whenever it pans out, it's whenever it's too late. With like a number of box office flops before that. So, it'll be interesting to see. I don't have high hopes for it, but I could be pleasantly surprised.
And then the other thing I have high hopes for coming this week is Logan. And with this movie, I don't remember. I'm really excited for this movie. I don't remember being this hyped for a movie since, for a long time. Maybe the Avengers even. Like, I think this movie is going to be really good. They have Collider originally reported a post-credits scene with this movie. After they've recently said that they were wrong. There's no post-credits scene, and they said it would have felt out of place for this movie. And I think I see, like, I don't know if Logan's gonna die in this movie. I'm assuming he is.
No, don't assume that.
I could see them having a serious ending, like that. Yeah, and then having a post-credit scene would seem weird, but 3 minutes were added to the runtime, and it has been hinted at that there may be a treat for the fans before the movie. Now, what that is, it's anyone's guess. Obviously, people are jumping to and hoping for a Deadpool appearance, but I'm not sure if they would do that.
I'm excited for this movie too, but I think that for this, I think that I don't know if I want to say I don't want to see ties to the other movies, but I don't want to see direct references to anything that happened in past Logan or Wolverine movies.
No.
I want it to kind of stand on its own.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bearing a Wolverine, title. It's Logan.
Yeah.
So I want it to kind of be yes, it's Hugh Jackman. Yes, he's done the X-Men movies and the previous Wolverine movies, but I want it to be its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have Patrick Stewart returning as Professor X, but I still just want it to feel like yes, it's going to be tied to the X-Men universe or the X-Men cinema universe, but I want it to feel kind of disconnected as well. I want it to kind of stand on its own, and they said in this one that it's going to be, an R-rated, and they're going to take, hints from Deadpool and what was so successful there, and I kind of want it to, kind of have that pizzazz that Deadpool had in its own right, in a Logan tone, and a Wolverine tone, and the kind of the gruff guy that, we know from the comics that they really haven't really portrayed. Half the time he's been trying to get Jean Grey, and I have high hopes for it, but for me, it hinders a lot on whether, how much they tie it to the other movies that they've already done.
Right. Yeah, and I think they're setting up the girl to maybe be the next. I don't know if they're gonna have her take over as like the next Wolverine, but I wouldn't mind that. Well, I mean, we'll see how she is in the movie. But you're right. I hope they don't directly relate it to the X-Men movies. Like, oh, here she is. She'll be the next Wolverine, the next X-Men. Yeah, I agree with you. I hope it's separate from all of that.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think it'll be good, but I think it has the potential to be great.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you have these movies where, sometimes they're really good, and sometimes they Deadpool was kind of like, oh yeah, this looks good and stuff, but then it really blew everybody out of the water. It was so good.
Yeah.
Then you had like John Wick, where that came out of left field, and that was a great movie. And then they were able to recapture that same magic in the second one. I hope that this time, that in this movie, that they're just able to just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
For it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's all the topics. Just talk about our gaming this week. I didn't do too much. I messed around with the beta for Ghost Recon Wildlands. There's a video on our channel of me doing like the first mission or so if you want to check that out. But I really enjoyed myself. I mean, I loved the customization of your character. I mean, there was a lot of the opening sequence. I forget, I cut some of it out of the video, but there still ended up being like 5 minutes of opening, the cutscene, which was fine. I mean, it sets up the story well. But then just going in, doing the mission, and then having it just open up, I really like it so far, and I think we'll have a blast doing co-op with it.
Yeah. The only thing that I did notice, and I don't know if maybe this was going to be fixed in the full version of the game or not, but I was playing with 3 other online people, and at one point, one of them dropped out. They were done playing, and we didn't get an AI person in there, and I'm wondering if whenever you're multiplayer, now I didn't try it with 2 people to see if whenever you're playing with just another person, if you had 2 AI components or companions, but I don't know if they think that it's such a distinct advantage once you're playing with another human person that you really shouldn't need the AI companions. I don't know. That's my only kind of right now, but that's not a game breaker by any means. I mean, the gameplay was so good, and the open world was full of stuff, and it really, the exploration is really key, because like before I did a few things and I'm kind of found myself kind of like wandering aimlessly, and then I did a couple of little things and I could unlock where different resources were and different weapons were, and then okay, now I have a purpose, because I wanted A, new weapons, and B, attachments for those weapons, and then I got to the point where, okay, I'm leveling up, okay, I need resources, so now my focus shifted to, okay, where can I get a lot of this resource? And it was, okay, over here. So, really, it kind of fits your play style, and you can kind of play it to how you want to, as far as if you just want to go around and kill enemies, you can do that. You can do that all day long. If you want to, drive yourself to get better gear and better yourself, and really, I don't even know if you had to hit on the story content to do that stuff. Now, obviously, you're going to need to hit on that to progress and to kind of expand into the other territories. Yeah. But they kind of, for me, I don't know if they'll take a back seat quickly or how, if I'll be able to go and get some of the key weapons that I want and key attachments that I want, then I might find myself doing that right out the gate, and then going through and kind of doing the missions how I want to do them,
Yeah.
with the gear I have. Now, obviously, I will level up a little bit in between, and I could power level to get, certain skills that I wanted. And so, I really was playing out the story mission how I wanted to, which I don't know if that's how I'll do it. But you really
Right.
have a lot of flexibility in that aspect of it.
It kind of reminded me of Far Cry 4.
Yes.
Just because in the way I played that game was I explored like the whole area, did a bunch of stuff, and then afterwards I was like, okay, now I'll go do this story and kind of didn't breeze through it, but went through that. So, I mean, I'm kind of assuming that's how I'll do it, but you never know.
Yeah. And then the 1.6 patch for the Division is going to release on the 28th, which is Tuesday. So that's exciting for people that are still preparing. If you save your caches and stuff for Tuesday and then open them up, it's still kind of early to start re-rolling stuff from what I've heard because you don't know what the meta is going to change to. So, but I've done quite a bit of prepping. I've got millions upon millions of dollars of credits, and I've got weapon parts, and I've got my caches that I can open, and so I'm anxious to see how much it's going to change, better or worse. We'll see. They're also introducing if you had the expansion pass or bought the DLC, they're also introducing the Last Man Standing, which is a more of a deathmatch or PvP kind of conquest-based play mode where you actually are on a team of it's either 6 or 8 players, and you go against 6 or 8 other players, and you try to capture objectives. And then there's also AI opponents that are in there, and then along with the human opponents that you have to take out. And so it just kind of offers another thing to the game, which a lot of people, including myself, I'm not really interested in that game mode. Really would have liked more story content or expanding the map more than this game mode. Still really like the game. Appreciate the fact that even after a year after it's been released, that they're still trying to, work on it and fix things as they come up. So that's kind of promising. But so we'll see how that is, and we'll talk about that in our next episode.
Yeah. As far as For Honor, I'm afraid you were right in your assumption that would be a one-trick pony. I think I've played maybe an hour since it came out.
Now, see, I'd have probably played more for that just to get my gear customized and stuff, but I think I would have plateaued if I'd have got to a place where I liked my gear, then the drive would have went away.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing with me was I played with the beta quite a bit, and I got that guy where I liked, and it's like he looked pretty cool and had good gear. And I started out with a brand new guy, and I was just like, I don't know if I feel like doing this again. So, yeah. But yeah, looking forward to it. Zelda comes out this week, so should be playing that a ton. Then Ghost Recon. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Follow us if you're listening on SoundCloud or iTunes. Check out our YouTube channel. Subscribe there. We should be putting up some cool content on there, so check that out. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.